He is clearly foreign, clearly not from round here. His clothes are not the best. He's unshaven, but his hands are immaculately clean. Odd that. "Hello," he says. Normally you can tell a lot from a hello. Where they're from, what they want. Are they rich? Are they scared? But this was a hello we people locked in this stinking, disused garage hadn't heard before. It said, "Don't mind me. I'm going to do something. It's not going to hurt you, and then I'll be gone." Then he says, "The roads were..." But he doesn't finish his sentence. He just shrugs, because everyone knows what the roads are like. Broken, full of holes, and not going to be fixed until after this is all over. I can see he hasn't got a gun or a bomb. He brings some stuff in from outside and places it on a large tarpaulin in the middle of the concrete floor. People bring different things when they arrive. Some bring flowers, some bring bullets. Some bring long words and plans to change things. Some bring hate. He has this: flour, oil, salt, water. Something in his inside pocket. He takes out a little scrap of paper. "Can I borrow someone's reading glasses?" he says. "I wrote this a long time ago and the light was better then." I take out a pair from my apron front pocket. I'm not being kind to this stranger. It's just that the habit has not yet been broken in me. Not yet. An old, miserable man, Mr. Almasi, in filthy clothes and a pair of scrappy leather slippers, clears his throat. A scraping of phlegm that sort of says, "What right does this stranger have to come here with his words and his stuff?" A baby in the corner is crying, and a woman who isn't its mother places an old punctured dummy in its mouth. The stranger puts on my glasses. Not that he needs them, of course, because his eyesight is perfectly clear, and because he knows the recipe on the paper by heart. He's borrowed my glasses so that, after pretending to use them, he can give them back to me. And everyone will know he's not here to take, but to give. Yesterday, the hospital was targeted. Everyone knows the Russian planes did it on purpose. It is the 7th hospital in the city to have been blasted and burned in 7 days. The bakeries are all rubble and twisted metal too. The streets have puddles of flour and blood. This city is a trap. The politicians and the charities are locked out and not going to be let back in until the last bullet has been shot, the last bomb dropped, the last canister of gas thrown in the last doorway. And now, the virus is here, and the doctors die like dogs. There are about 30 of us in this garage. Where the stranger stands, there used to be a pit, where a mechanic in bright blue overalls worked. He had a silver socket set, given to him by his dad when he started his apprenticeship. He could strip down the carburetor of an E-Class Mercedes faster than anyone in the country. When the planes came, he joined the rebels. He's dead now. The pit has been boarded over. The stranger knows none of this. He pulls out a large battered mixing bowl and wipes it with a clean white cloth. He tells a joke. Some children nearly laugh, but only because it has the word bottom in it. Mr. Almasi's face is like stone. Not because the joke is bad, but because this same joke he told his son before he was a mechanic, before he gave him the silver socket set, before his boy went away and never came back. The stranger measures the flour using an old mug with a picture of the Eiffel Tower on it. He's never visited the Eiffel Tower. None of us in the garage has. But everyone knows someone who's been to France and moved on, or been to France and been sent back, or been to France and never been heard of again. Can anyone make a fire? The answer is in the silence. Lighting a fire would be like poking a wasp's nest. Also, we may look like the starved dicks of people. We may now be coughing and have temperatures, but we are the survivors. Not the stupid, careless ones who go outside and get shot for trying to light a fire. The stranger takes an old wooden chair laying in the corner and breaks it into kindling with his hands. Not by placing it on a step and jumping on it. He just splinters it with his bare hands. Baker's hands, he says, lightening the mood. But in this country, where physical might can mean the difference between life and death, there is a feeling of just for now, with this man here, being a little less in peril. Outside in the dusty back alley behind the garage, where the mechanic used to play football and pretend to be Messi or Ronaldo or Gareth Bale, I watched the foreigner make a pyramid out of sticks. He strikes a match. The dry wood catches. Soon the fire is sparking. He comes back inside. It's been a long time since I saw a man who wasn't running or hiding, killing or being killed. Will you help me? He says. I'm not going outside, I say. And then he smiles. And the bit inside I thought had died begins to weep. He gestures to the bowl. I'll do the measuring. You do the next bit, eh? He doesn't tell me his name. Because if, after this is all over, I am asked by someone, it's better that I don't know. Better that I don't lie trying to keep his name a secret. Because liars get found out. Liars get dragged into the alley and shot. He dips the Eiffel Tower mug into a large paper sack and measures out 15 scoops of flour. And now some salt. He adds in a few generous pinches. Oil next, he glugs some in. He hands me a wooden spoon. Actually, it's more like a stick with a slight concave at one end. Was a spoon, but has been worn away by a million mixings. And he takes out a paper envelope with the dried yeast. He pours the right amount. He knows it exactly into the bowl I'm holding. He touches my shoulder. Against all the rules of behavior in this part of the world, but also not caring whether he catches it or not. He does this to say without words, "You are a good woman." and you do not deserve any of this. I look down at the bowl. I look back up, pull my scarf tight, unbalanced by this show of humanity. He pours in 9 eyefuls of water. The dry and wet materials fight against each other, neither one wanting to be the other. I push the materials together against their will and work until it becomes an agglomeration. One thing. He pulls out an old wok from his bag. "Back soon," he says. Outside, the fire is burning well. The foreigner finds some bricks and makes them into 3 roughly made legs around the fire. He then balances the wok upside down on the 3 supports so that it is like a domed roof above the flames. Inside, I work the dough until it becomes elastic. And the people are talking now about the man, about the fire, about other things that have long been on our minds but not gotten as far as our lips. And then, outside, a man with a gun walks past, staring at the stranger. Through his mask, he shouts at the baker kneeling by the wok, "You!" We all hold our breath. All of us scared in this smelling garage. "I'm making saj. Want some?" "Stuff you," says the man with the gun, and he walks off, his jaw stuck out, his arms like he's carrying invisible rolls of carpet. Under my jacket, where he touched my shoulder, the skin burns. "We are ready, Azisti," I call to him. The wall has bullet holes, a long line of them running diagonally up across the window and up to the top corner, opposite the printed sign that reads Idlib Garage, and scrawled in paint, "Closed." I break bits off the main lump of dough and roll the pieces into large, stretchy plate-sized discs. "The fire is good," says Mr. Almasi, and people look at him. This is the first time he has spoken in months, not since the garage closed. The stranger takes a circle of dough and flops it on the upturned wok, now an improvised convex cooking slab. He checks the underside of the saj by lifting the edges resting against the wok. Barely a minute gone, he flips it over. The mottling is like the craters of the moon. It has a beautiful, unique pattern that only this piece of bread has, different to the million other flatbreads ever made in the world since the beginning of time. And now, the second side is done. The soldier with the jaw and the invisible rolls of carpet comes back. He stands there, full square, knowing he has the power in this place. The baker man, not looking up from the cooking moon, says, "Yours will be ready in a few minutes." The man with the gun is the toughest in the street, but fear is as thick in his blood as in anybody else's. On his neck, tattooed, is the word, Christina. everyone can smell the cooking sage. Mr. Almasi, his breathing hard, comes out from the garage. "I'll be the waiter," he says. And then he laughs at his own joke that there could be a waiter in this dead whole place with no cafes, no restaurants, and no food. He takes the cooked sage. "Children first," he says to the baker. But really he's saying it to the man with the gun, who has now pulled down his mask and is dragging on a cigarette, just to show how hard he is, just to show that he alone is the boss around here. I look through the shattered window, but we all know, in fact, it is the man with the flour and the oil and the yeast who is in control here. Not for long, maybe, but for now. Yes, for now, and it is glorious. I spin the circles of sage, loving the act of it. The fire burns, the children eat, everyone gets some. "This one is yours," says the baker to the man with the gun. The man with the gun smells the fresh bread. He is suspicious of everyone and everything, and that's not going to change because some hot, fresh, perfect bread is passed his way. He doesn't expect a thank you. He doesn't get one. However, "It's good," he says. "Want another?" He is hungry, and the taste reminds him of his Christina in a town a day north of St. Petersburg. And he lets out a sigh that I hear, and Mr. Almasi hears, and the baby sucking on the broken dummy hears, and the baker hears. And the baker hands him a second beautiful, piping hot sage bread. Yes, it smells a bit of wood smoke. Yes, it would be better with Nutella or hummus or served on a plate in a cafe by the beach. But not much. "That's your lot," I say. And Mr. Almasi hands him the last uncooked circle of sage. I watch it cook, standing in the doorway like a little girl. We all watch it brown and mottle. The baker lifts the edges and flips it over. The man with the gun says, "Good bread, baker man." And I laugh, knowing it is true even before the warmth of it touches my lips. The woman has chewed some of the bread into a mush and puts it into the baby's mouth using her fingers. The old man thinks of his son. The man with the gun spits again, pulls his mask back up and walks away. The rows of carpet are smaller now. The baker man kicks the wok off the fire and while it cools, packs away the rest of his stuff. I wipe my hands on my apron. I watch him go.